The following program may contain coarse language, violence, nudity, mature subject matter, or scenes which may not be suitable for all viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone. Rob McConnell here from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. We're on the STARR Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, X Zone Broadcast Network, and on Simul TV Channel 32, which is the X Zone TV channel, 724, 365. We're going to be talking about a topic that needs to be talked about. We need to stir the pot again. And we're going to be talking about aspartame and the dangers that aspartame presents to each and every one of you out there who enjoy your diet pops, your diet this, your diet that, because it has aspartame and you really have no idea what it's doing to you. Or maybe you forgot about what it's doing to you. Well, joining me now is a young lady that we've had the pleasure of having on the show before. Dr. Janet STARR Hull is our guest. And Dr. Janet, welcome back to the X Zone. Great seeing you. Thank you for joining us.
I am so happy to be back. Forgive me, I've got some allergies kicking in here. Texas Springs. Now, we're down here in South Texas, and it's been really, really dry. You guys have gotten hammered up north, right?
We have. And we've also had bad weather.
Oh, okay. Okay, and then you get hammered. Right. Well, yeah. So I got out on my tractor yesterday. I have a ranch in Texas, and I got out on my tractor, and I guess I kicked up something because, boy, I've been sneezing all day. So,
well, thanks very much for joining us, Doctor. For the viewers and listeners who haven't had the opportunity and pleasure of hearing you before here on the X Zone or elsewhere in the media, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, in 1991, Rob, I was teaching at the University of North Texas. I'm an environmental toxicologist. Mm-hmm. And I was busy commuting through Dallas, 3 little kids, and I started picking up a Diet Dr. Pepper on my way home from the campus every day. And in less than a year, I found myself in the hospital, hooked up to EKGs, EEGs, everything. They probably hooked me up to the light panel. I was dying, and the doctors had no clue what was wrong with me. I had no clue what was wrong with me. I'd always been healthy. So they wanted to do all kinds of surgeries and stuff. And my heart rate was like at 170 beats at rest.
Oh my
Cholesterol
gosh.
was off the scales. I was just having all kinds of health problems. My hair was falling out. So I told the doctor I didn't want to have anything done until I figured out what made me sick, because I was a toxicologist. So I knew how to determine what toxins were causing what side effects. Mm-hmm. So he said, well, if you go home, you might die. And I'm like, well, if it's my time, it's my time. But I need to find out what's going on. And so it wasn't very, very long before I met Mary Stoddard. And I met some really wonderful people that were queuing into NutraSweet Equal, which was exclusive on the market in the early 1990s. It didn't lose the market to Splenda until the year 2000. So that's all we had. And they started getting me on the trail of researching the dangers of aspartame. And then back then we didn't have Google and DuckDuckGo, and we had to call the researchers. We had to literally go visit them, write them letters. So I got all my research done, and I gathered up all of the research information, the Senate hearings, all of the documentation that aspartame is a carcinogen, and it is extremely toxic, and they knew it. But Monsanto owned saccharin at the time. They bought the patent for NutraSweet Equal, so they owned them both. And if one didn't make it, they would just launch the other one again. But they pushed NutraSweet Equal, and it still blows me away that they're still promoting it today. Football games, Super Bowl, Diet Coke, and it's in stuff that's not even labeled sugar-free anymore. It's been on the market so long.
If my memory serves me correct, wasn't there something to do with within the cans when during the Operation Desert Storm and that the contents of the cans, because they were left in the heat, were actually turning to wood alcohol?
That's exactly right. It's got 3 ingredients in it. It's got an amino acid, phenylalanine, and another amino acid, aspartic acid. And those two are bonded together with wood alcohol. White lightning, rock gut liquor. They're just hooked together with wood alcohol. And at 86 degrees, that wood alcohol breaks free. And so all 3 of the ingredients are just floating around your body with no instructions on what to do. So when the wood alcohol breaks free, in essence, you are drinking pure alcohol, pure wood alcohol. So your health symptoms are going to be blindness and heart problems, circulatory problems, kidney problems, bladder problems, just as if you were poisoning yourself with pure alcohol.
And from what I understand, and to the people that I talk to, thanks to you coming on the show many times and helping spread this valuable information, that the people who drink the diet pop find it very addictive.
It is addictive. Usually the person has an addictive personality anyway. I think we're all have an addiction to something, even if it's just walking every day, but it could be chocolate, it could be booze, it could be cigarettes. But yes, it is extremely addictive for many reasons. One, the wood alcohol is addictive. And Alcoholics Anonymous did a study for us, for the researchers on it, that the alcoholics that were coming to the Alcoholic Anonymous meetings were just downing the Diet Cokes, just downing it by the liter, because to them, that was satisfying their trigger in their head that they had alcohol in their body.
But does the alcohol in the body from the Diet Coke effect actually cause signs and symptoms of being impaired?
Yes, it does. It absolutely does. Again, like I said, it'll cause blindness, but the number one health symptom is a migraine headache right here. And so you'll get a migraine headache, ringing in the ears, sinus problems, eye problems. And then as it begins to go down into your circulatory system, you'll get all kinds of heart problems, elevated cholesterol, and it causes you to gain weight because it tricks the body. All diet sweeteners are bad, maybe except for stevia. And we can talk about saccharin. If you can remember, I researched saccharin, and saccharin may cause cancer. But what it does is that it tricks the body. The body tastes the sweetness coming in. And when it does that, then it starts producing its insulin to get out there to meet the sucrose, so that then it can divide it up and assimilate it around your body for energy. And if you have just the right amount of sugar, the right amount of insulin, you won't have either one left over. Well, the body senses sweetness coming in, but it's not sugar. It's not sucrose. It's a chemical. It's wood alcohol. So when the body digests it, it goes, okay, where's the sugar? I don't need you wood alcohol. I don't need you phenylalanine. I don't need you aspartic acid. So it'll store it in the brain, eats holes in the brain. John Olney from Washington University proved that it ate holes in the brains of his laboratory mice. So it's extremely toxic. It causes your insulin to stay elevated, and that causes you to stay hungry. So the more diet products you use, the hungrier you get, and you usually gain weight.
Is Monsanto that big and powerful that the government can't do anything about it? Like, doctor, the work that you've done and other researchers into aspartame, I'm surprised that they're not shut down yet.
Well, it's funny because when the COVID debacle came out, I wasn't necessarily jaded, but I'd been through this before. I'd been in this rodeo before. I saw the corruption. I saw the manipulation. I saw how they lied to people. And I saw how they just literally buy off senators and congressmen and presidents. So I knew it was a scam. I just knew it was. And sure enough, it turned out to be, because they did it. Now, NutraSweet was discovered in the 1960s. So it took them a while to get it on the market because it was a carcinogen. It did cause cancer, mammary gland cancer, brain cancer. So it took them a while to push it through politically because it kept getting rejected. The FDA kept rejecting it until they figured out how they could pass it through. Same thing happened with this COVID debacle. And what else is on the market? You know, Viagra, all of the drugs that they'll push through that wind up having side effects that kill people. So they know in the research studies that these products are bad, but they push them through politically. And see, I guess you could say, Rob, I was one of the first whistleblowers, but it was before we had the internet and before we had YouTube and all, you know, TikTok and all the social media. So it was super, super hard to get my message out because I do a radio show or I do a TV show. Monsanto would come right behind me and go, don't you ever have her on again? Don't you ever talk to her again? Or we're pulling our advertising.
Oh,
that was the old fashioned way. Now things are so high tech. They ban you. They ban you from Facebook. They ban you from Twitter. They ban you off YouTube. And so that's how they censor you now. But how they censored me back in the day, they followed me around. And every interview I would do, if they could get a hold of the producer, they would tell them, don't ever talk to her again. You were insulated, but you were also pretty bold. You were going to do it anyway.
that's right. I still do.
Yeah. And thank goodness, because if we didn't have shows like yours, none of this information would have a chance to get out.
You're too kind, Dr. Hall. You and I have to take our first break. Please stand by, Exo Nation. Our guest this hour is Dr. Janet STARR Hall, and we'll both be back on the other side, exposing, yelling, screeching, letting you know the truth about aspartame. I'm Rob McConnell. This is the Exxon. Whatever you do, don't go away.
Question: what is the name of the unique blend of coffee you get that has been formulated by a neurologist, a neurobiologist, and a pharmaceutical chemist? Answer: you get Beautiful Mind Coffee, a unique coffee blend that tastes great and has herbal ingredients that your brain will love, and it is not just coffee, it's brainalicious. Dr. Rathbone, Dr. Jang, and Dr. Winslow, the scientific team that created Beautiful Mind Coffee, decided to collaborate on a coffee focusing on brain health. As for those herbal ingredients found in Beautiful Mind Coffee, Dr. Rathbone, Dr. Jang, and Dr. Winslow, utilizing their combined extensive scientific research background, worked with many natural and herbal products until the exact formulation that is found in Beautiful Mind Coffee was created. With a unique scientific formula not found in any other coffee being sold or served, Beautiful Mind Coffee is the only coffee blend that contains 3 herbal ingredients found to aid in boosting your daily mental clarity and focus. Every cup of Beautiful Mind Coffee contains scientifically formulated amounts of maca root powder, green tea extract, and American ginseng, all supporting good brain health. Taking care of your brain's health now can help delay or prevent the onset of cognitive dysfunction, including dementia, Alzheimer's, and more general memory loss as you get older, just by enjoying the delicious flavor of our roasted coffee and herbal ingredients found exclusively in Beautiful Mind Coffee. Did you know that cognitive dysfunction also refers to deficits in attention, verbal and non-verbal learning, short-term and working memory, visual and auditory processing, problem-solving, processing speed, and motor functioning? For more on Beautiful Mind Coffee, the 3 scientists who formulated Beautiful Mind Coffee, and more details on the 3 unique herbal ingredients in Beautiful Mind Coffee, visit www.beautifulmindcoffee.ca. Beautiful Mind Coffee is now available online at amazon.ca and amazon.com. To order Beautiful Mind Coffee, visit www.beautifulmindcoffee.ca today.
And we're back this hour talking about aspartame with our very special guest, Dr. Janet STARR Hull. Her Facebook page is facebook.com/Janet STARR Hull. And STARR has 2 R's, just like Ringo Starr.
Yep. Bell Star. She was
Bell Star. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I find it. Well, I'm still bamboozled by the whole thing after all these years, Janet. I also believe that aspartame can cause the body to mimic neurological diseases. And I believe we talked about MS once.
Exactly. And what it's doing, your body is actually reacting with the MS symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
And so the doctors would just look at the textbook symptoms. I was diagnosed with Graves' disease, which was a hyperactive thyroid. They would just look at the symptoms and they would say, check, 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 check. Ah, okay, you have MS.
Yeah.
Take this prescription, which made you get worse, and you wound up in a wheelchair, and things just got worse because the doctor never said, are you using aspartame? Are you using diet sweeteners? You might want to stop those. Nope. Instead, people are taking their medications with the diet sweeteners that are causing the health symptoms for their diagnoses. This is what I watched for years, almost 30 years, Rob. I watched this go on. And I just wanted to pull my hair out because it was like, guys, remove the aspartame, remove the toxin, and see if your health symptoms don't go away. So I wrote my book, Sweet Poison, and I touched as many people as I could. I helped as many people as I could. And then during COVID, that book came out in 1997. It had a long run.
Wow.
During COVID, my publisher said, okay, it's time. We're going to put her to rest. So since Sweet Poison's still available through Amazon, but it's time to get another one out. So I've researched the history of aspartame, saccharin, Splenda, stevia, ACE-K, erythritol, maltitol. I've researched all of them. So I'm going to put them all in a book called The Sweetener Wars, because that's all they do is just fight for your money.
Okay. I still don't understand how Big Pharma can get away from this. It seems like they're creating a problem to stimulate business within the healthcare industry and just bilk people out of billions and billions and billions of dollars, not to mention killing and maiming. And it's just horrible.
Yeah, that's exactly what they were doing. And like I said, 30 years ago, back in 1991, you kind of looked at that and you went, no, there's no way they'd do that. No way. Now, as the years have gone by and we see the corruption, we see what Pfizer has done, what the pharmaceutical companies have done with various medications, from AIDS to COVID.
Yeah.
So I think it's more clear. I think more people are beginning to accept the fact that these are not people that are looking out for our health and wellness. I don't have anything against the medical community. To me, the best ER docs are the best docs out there because they're the ones that really, really want to help you. They're the ones that really are going to implement the things that are going to work. And I also think a veterinarian makes a better human doctor than doctors. But I think over the years, Rob, they've just gotten bought off, gotten apathetic, gotten lazy, gotten rich.
It sounds almost as if there's a conspiracy between all the big pharma who deal in sweeteners to keep poisoning us, to keep us sick, to keep us in the hospitals, to keep us buying more medication for a very simple cure that can be done is just by banning aspartame.
Well, I naively thought that when I came out with my book and I had all of the Senate hearings and case histories, and there have been some lawsuits that have been settled with gag orders on them, blindness, death. Now, there have been lawsuits settled, but you're never going to hear about them. And, when I came out with Sweet Poison, I naively thought, okay, everybody's going to realize that they've been lied to and this is bad for you. Nope, here we are, 2023, and it's still being advertised on the Super Bowl.
And of course, 2023, you can still buy a diet pop in the schools in the school vending machines. Nothing's changed. And in fact, in my opinion, it's been made more available to the youth.
when you go to the hospital, they're going to give you a Diet Cola, especially if you're diabetic. You have to tell them, look, I'm allergic to this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just give me saccharin or nothing, So if you're in the hospital and you're diabetic, you want to tell them not to give you the aspartame. Otherwise, they'll just load you up with it.
What's the difference between saccharin and aspartame then?
Saccharin, its history is real mysterious because they want to start saccharin's history when it was discovered in the laboratory, just like aspartame was discovered in the laboratory.
Mm-hmm.
They want to go to that and say it came from coal tar. But I know from my father, who was in World War II in India, they used to cart saccharin in from China to India, and he used saccharin in the 1940s, and it came out of China. And they told him that it was a leaf, sort of like stevia. It was a leaf. So I grew up hearing one story because my dad always used the little pellets, the little saccharin pellets.
Yeah.
He always used those and told me the story about India. And then I start researching saccharin and I realize it was discovered in a laboratory in coal tar. I didn't buy it. Saccharin is actually natural, somewhat like stevia. And it has absolutely no adverse health effects. None. It did not cause cancer in the laboratory. That was a setup. And the history behind saccharin is very interesting because it was all a political scam. It was. They gave a little lab rat equivalent to 600 cans of a diet soda, and they put cyclamate in with it. And it was the cyclamate that caused it to develop a mammary gland tumor. But they blamed it on the saccharin. But they said, it's kind of iffy. So we've got this new sweetener we're going to introduce. And if it doesn't take off, we'll just drop that cancer warning.
Yeah.
And they agreed at that time to take it off in the year 2000, which they did. There is no cancer warning on saccharin anymore because it never did cause cancer. So the pink pack is totally fine. Now, of course, it's not natural anymore. It's totally chemical. But if you have to avoid your sugar, if you're a diabetic, you have a hyperactive child, you got cancer because you don't want sugar if you have cancer, you can pick the pink pack, and that would be safe. That would be safe for you. Never caused cancer. Never did.
So where do we go from here, Janet? Because we know that you and I've talked about this before, and there have been your book did a fantastic job. I saw your video. That was great.
Thank you.
And you must be as frustrated as oh heck that here you've got all this information. People are getting sick each and every day, and you're at the top of the mountain yelling, trying to help them, and nobody's listening.
I think what really made me sad was when sweet poison was out there, people could order it, and it's been translated into Japanese and it's sold in Britain, but they removed that from the shelves. So it's banned in Britain. I'm telling you, I was one of the first banned whistleblowers too. I mean, it's back in the day, but I think when my publisher decided not to continue on with it during COVID, that's what really made me sad, because I still work with people. They still contact me through my website, janethall.com. I can help them, get off the diet sweeteners and get their health back the best I can. And when they took sweet poison off the market, I thought, wow, I really kind of felt like my legs had been chopped out from underneath me. So that's when I thought, I need to get back on the circuit. I need to get the sweetener wars out, because it talks about Splenda, talks about stevia. It just gives everybody an education on the safe sweeteners out there, what to use, what not to use, what side effects you may be having from either aspartame or Splenda or ACE-K. And this way people can understand that it's not all COVID. Everything right now is COVID, COVID, COVID. No. There are so many things out there that are still harming people's bodies and people's health. And we're now turning the spotlight onto, look over here, look over here, look over here.
Diversion.
Remember, yeah. We need to remember that the diet sweeteners are very unhealthy, and they are something you do not want to use. Even if you're diabetic, you do not want to use them. There are lots of good products out there now. I don't like any of them. I mean, I don't even like the taste of stevia. I just like good old unprocessed sugar.
Right.
But I don't eat a lot of sugar. I don't drink soft drinks or use sugar or anything at all. I just get used to the sweetness of my food and the natural sweetness that's in a strawberry, for example. Why sugar a strawberry? It's already sweet enough,
Exactly.
So if I can get back to helping people understand that their headaches, their mood swings, their infertility, their cholesterol rising, blood pressure rising, all of this really may be that they've been using aspartame for 20 years.
Janet, having your book barred isn't really that bad because you're in great company with the Bible.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
So
that is the one
go
book
ahead.
that gives you all the answers as well.
It does. So how do we go about, how can we help you ring the bell again?
Well, thank you. I think we do it by just being loud. It's time that we all get loud again.
Yeah.
And it's time that we all say, look, this is not working. Our government's not working. Our finances aren't working. Our health practitioners aren't working. Insurance, nothing's working right now. We've gotten way off track. And I think the more we inform each other. So what I need to do is get the Sweetener Wars published. I need to stay in touch with you more than I have. I think it's been about 10 years.
It has.
And we just need to get the word out, and we just need to be helping one another, just word of mouth. That's all we've done.
It's crazy because, as you said, it seems like what we need to do, Janet, is stop everything and reboot. Mm-hmm.
We've lost our common sense,
mm-hmm.
and we're living in fear, and we don't do our research. And of course, it's hard to do research. I mean, if I want to go out and Google, because I have a newsletter, and so I write articles three or four times a week. I was Googling the number of vaccines that's on the market now today, the mandated mm-hmm. vaccines. Do you know that information is not out there? It's not out there. They'll give you a list of the vaccines, but they don't want you to add up, the schedule of the vaccines. What they're doing is they are gaslighting people. They're guiding you into believing certain things. It's a lot of propaganda, which we know. They are being not untruthful, but they're not being truthful. They're not educating people. We don't educate kids in school anymore about
that's true.
So I think what's happened is people have become desensitized to how their bodies react to things that are good and to things that are harmful. We've got the chemtrails, we've got polluted water. We could just go on and get super depressed. So what we have to do is say, okay, I'm going to spin it. I'm going to come up with a solution. Find those healthy drinks that taste good, that satisfy you. Grow your food, do all your prepping. Make the measures to make your decisions for yourself, because they're not going to do it. No one else is going to do it for you.
Dr. Janet STARR Hull is our guest, and we have to take our bottom of the hour break. Doctor, please stand by. And thanks so much for coming on the show with us again. It's great having you with us, and congratulations on your new book.
Thank you.
Sweetener
It's
Wars.
nice to see you again, too.
We'll be back on the other side as we continue this exposure of the dirty secrets that Big Pharma does not want you to know, but we do, because we love you guys. We'll be back on the other side of this break. Oh, there's a good idea. Why don't you visit Dr. Hull's website? I'm sorry, on Facebook, facebook.com/Janet STARR Hull. You really forgot that, Janet. That wasn't nice. We'll be back. Don't go away.
And I'm on.
So I was watching the X Zone TV channel last night when I was abducted by aliens, and they kept repeating to me over and over again, simultv.com, simultv.com.
What's simultv.com?
That's what I asked them. They had it written on the side of their UFO.
How do you spell that?
UFO.
No, I mean simultv.com.
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 Right. simultv.com.
Interesting that you were abducted by aliens in a simultv.com UFO last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember now last night I was awakened from a deep sleep. My great-grandmother was standing there. She said she come from the hereafter to tell me about simultv.com. She even spelled it out for me.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
simultv.com.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll never guess what my psychic guru just told me.
simultv.com.
Exactly. Are you guys psychic too?
Of course.
We all know about simultv.com. simultv.com.
Unbelievable is the only word to discuss and describe what we're talking about tonight. Aspartame is still out there, still on the market after years of Dr. Hull and other great people trying to warn us, trying to tell society, hey, you're killing yourselves.
Yeah.
But then again, you've got Big Pharma who has the big money, who can bully people around, buy their way out of problems, pay off the politicians that they need to pay off, and allow this atrocity. I call it a crime against humanity, for goodness sake.
Well, you know, when the truth is out there and it's being hidden from people and kept from people, that's a crime.
It is.
It's a crime. And we're seeing it. I think we're seeing it more and more and more. And what woke me up, I guess, like I said, I didn't go into retirement, but I kind of went into retirement.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I still teach college classes, and I have my online nutritional counseling business, and now I'm trying to get the sweetener wars out. So, I mean, I'm working, I'm busy, but not like I used to be, right? So I thought, okay, I got to come out of retirement. I have got to hit this hard again, because rinse and repeat. We're rinsing and repeat. And even though the aspartame isn't anywhere as toxic as the COVID vaccine, in my opinion, aspartame is still a carcinogen, and it's lethal. It will kill you. It will cause the fetus to be deformed. So if you drink it during pregnancy, you'll have a baby with lower IQ. Cleft palate is common. Sometimes just deformations physically.
Oh my goodness.
So, I mean, and I think what's happened, Rob, is we're looking at almost 30 years. It's been on the market, it's been on the market 30 years. And people, like you said, it's still being advertised like it's the greatest thing in the whole wide world. Chris Rock's drinking it, and the congressmen are drinking it, and there's nothing wrong with it. People joke about their Diet Coke, and it's like, people, it's time to wake up. So I was thinking that COVID had to be the catalyst that really, really shook people up. It's got to be the catalyst that shakes them up. If they don't get shaken up, that we've been sold a bill of goods, bad quality foods, bad quality supplements, bad quality medications for decades, that keep us sick. If they don't see it now, then they never will. They never will. So
before we went on air, you asked me if you could mention COVID.
Yeah.
What is your take on COVID? No bars hold on this show. You know me well enough.
Good. Well, I just wasn't sure, so I wasn't gonna get you in trouble. You know,
we own the network.
Okay, there you go. That's the way to do it. That's the way to make a good choice. They've taken down YouTube videos that I've made on B17 cancer prevention. They've taken down videos, of course, if I mention anything about COVID or the jabs. So when I write an article, I have to talk about the COOF, or I have to use code words when I write an article. Oh, they'll take my articles off of YouTube.
Whatever happened to freedom of the press, freedom of speech?
Exactly. But like I said, when I would do a television show, Monsanto producers or lawyers would call the producers of the show and they would say, if you ever have her on again, we'll pull all of our advertising. So they've been pulling this for a long time. Now it's just easy for them to ban you off Twitter, ban you off YouTube. So COVID, to mention COVID, and see, I had detoxification protocols early on. Hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, vitamin D, zinc, the whole Z-Pack thing. All of the good nutritional doctors did. We all knew what to do. Plus, I had COVID in November of 2019 before they knew what it was. I'm down here close to the border of Mexico, and so it must have come on in. I slept for 5 days.
My God.
I did not know what was going on with me because I'd never get sick. Maybe an allergy or two if I've been on the tractor, but I was like, what is going on? I didn't tell anybody I was sick. I had somebody help with the ranch. I slept for 5 days. So when I heard about COVID, I went, oh, okay, that's what I had. Well, I got over it. I got over it just fine. So all of the panic, all of that. So I started right off the bat addressing how to detox from it, what to watch for. I do the hair analysis, Rob, where you test your hair to see if it's got toxins and what your nutrient levels are. So I could see if somebody was depleted in selenium or their primary antioxidants. And so I would put people on a protocol to try to avoid getting COVID, or if they had it, to get over it. And it was working. It was working just fine. But if I published any of that, or if I did a YouTube video on it, gone, down, gone. Yeah.
That is so wrong.
Right.
That is, I think, personally, I think YouTube's gotten too big for its britches.
Well, mainstream media. Now I've got a Substack, but media, I'm old school, right? I'm old school. So I post on Substack. I think Substack is pretty good because Dr. Malone, Dr. McCullough, they all publish their articles on Substack. So Substack is a real good source for going to get some really good information and really good articles written on things.
Based on the truth.
Based on the truth. But as far as doing any type of show, which I suppose I could have done one with you on how to prevent COVID and what to do if you've gotten it, warn you not to get the vaccinations. But it was so difficult to break through. I mean, there's still people in the grocery store down here wearing masks.
Up here too. And
you want to sit them down and go, can I talk to you? I'm a counselor. What are you afraid of?
Yeah, exactly.
What are you afraid of? So I think it's just a matter. I think for me, it made me realize nothing's changing and it's just getting worse.
We have to take our final break. Janet, please stand by. Thank you once again for everything that you've done over the years, and looking forward to seeing your new book that's coming out. When's the book coming out? The Secret, The Sweetener Wars.
My webmaster is going to put it up. We're going to go on and just publish it ourselves. So hopefully by the end of this year.
We'll do our best to help you promote it.
Thank you. Thank you, because it'll have all the truth about Splenda and all of them.
Please stand by. And Exonation, if you'd like to find out more about this courageous lady and the fight that she's been fighting to help you, protect you, to bring you up to speed, what the truth is, to get you away from big pharma, big people with big money who are just out to make more money on you. Yeah. Visit facebook.com/. Ever have one of those nights, Janet? Let's try this one again. www.facebook.com/Janet STARR. Hold on, don't forget there's 2 R's in STARR. We'll be back. Don't go away.
From the Canada-US border in the southern region of Niagara, traveling north in Ontario's Golden Horseshoe, then east and west of the Greater Toronto Area, there is growing awareness and excitement as more and more people are starting their day with Beautiful Mind Coffee, the delicious healthy coffee that your brain will love. Made with ethically sourced 100% Arabica coffee, Beautiful Mind Coffee is roasted and ground in small batches to ensure each bag contains a wonderful full-bodied artisan coffee. Scientifically formulated, Beautiful Mind Coffee is the only coffee blend that contains 3 herbal ingredients found to aid in boosting your daily mental clarity and focus. Maca root powder, green tea extract, and American ginseng have been selected for their ability to support good brain health. Taking care of your brain's health now can help delay or prevent the onset of cognitive dysfunction, including dementia, Alzheimer's, and more general memory loss as you get older just by enjoying the delicious flavor of our roasted coffee and herbal ingredients found exclusively in Beautiful Mind Coffee. Beautiful Mind Coffee is now available at Amazon.ca and soon to be available in selected locations near you. In Hamilton, Ontario, Beautiful Mind Coffee is now available at Livelong Wellness Clinic, located at 189 Hewson Street South. Beautiful Mind Coffee can be ordered by telephone by calling 416-436-3675 or 905-536-2450. Why have a good cup of coffee when you can have a great cup of Beautiful Mind Coffee that's good for your brain? For more information on Beautiful Mind Coffee, visit us online at www.beautifulmindcoffee.ca.
And Exonation Beautiful Mind Coffee is also available on Amazon.com. And if you'd like to find a retail store near you, just go to www.beautifulmindcoffee.com. And there is no aspartame in Beautiful Mind Coffee. Dr. Janet Starr Hull is our special guest, and her website is facebook.com/Janet Starr Hull. First of all, Janet, always a great pleasure having you with us. Please, if there's anything we can do, you just let me know. We'll do our very best to get it done as fast as possible for you.
Thanks, Rob.
Go
ahead.
Yeah. You know, it always amazes me when I talk to people like you who do so much, get the message out there, present the facts. It falls on deaf ears.
Mm-hmm.
What
it's a lot to watch, especially with the kids.
Yeah. How does it affect a child and it's the child's progression? For example, kids in I believe as elementary school, my producer was telling me his son goes to elementary school and they've got a pop dispenser there and in there, Diet Coke.
Mm-hmm.
Why does the school board allow it? Number one. Number two, what is that diet pop doing to the child?
Well, the school board allows it because they're getting paid off. So if they don't want to put the Diet Colas in there, they'll all of a sudden have an offer to pay for a new football stadium. And lo and behold, there's a soda machine with Diet Colas in it. So it's all money. It's all money. So they get paid off. But what it does to a child is a lot of things, both mentally and physically. It's going to make the child fat and unhealthy because, like I was telling you, it tricks the body. The body thinks it's had sugar. There's no sugar. So there's insulin just floating around going, do-do-do, what do I do? Which makes you hungrier and hungrier. So you eat more and you eat more simple carbs and junk to try to satisfy it. I think we've all seen that happen to kids. So it makes them fatter. It makes them more unhealthy. But as they are maturing, especially before they've reached puberty, aspartame will penetrate the blood-brain barrier. It will get into your brain. And when that wood alcohol, can you imagine a 4-year-old?
Oh my God.
Put alcohol in their brain? And are they going to be addictive? Are they going to be more susceptible to drugs? And of course, if their behavior is hyperactive or if they act out because they're hungry, which kids do, they're going to just be put on medications. So they've got them. They've got them. They netted them. They netted them, just like you said, the big
So here you've got a child drink or anyone for that matter drinking diet pop with aspartame. And I'm not going to mention Coca-Cola or Pepsi.
Right.
Yeah, no, you know. And then the child who causes problems at school is sent to a counselor who sends the child to a psychologist who puts the child on Ritalin, which is a derivative of cocaine.
Mhm.
So here we've got a kid who is super high, super smashed.
Mhm.
And it just elevates.
And you wonder why he takes the bite on fentanyl.
Yeah.
And the parents are stunned,
Mhm.
and they're stunned because they haven't been educated themselves. So if they don't know what's going on, they can't educate their children.
Why isn't this taught in school, Janet?
It should be. It absolutely should be.
Yeah.
Just like good common sense climate science needs to be taught in school. All we're doing is teaching propaganda for the corporations. Schools are nothing but corporate manuals.
Has there been any study done to correlate the rise in violence in teens to the ingestion of diet pop with aspartame?
Back in the day, before we had so many different cofactors coming in, causing these issues. And again, one of the reasons why I was so happy to do the show tonight was I want people to understand we're blaming everything on COVID now. Everything's COVID, 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 COVID. I have allergies. Ooh, do you think you might have COVID? I had somebody ask me that today at the gas station. COVID? No, I have allergies. Everything's COVID.
Yeah.
So what people need to realize, Rob, and sorry, I don't mean to be cutting you off.
No,
What they
don't
need
worry.
to realize is we are totally oblivious to the road that we've been led down, to the propaganda that we've been fed, to all the advertisements, all of the TikTok videos and the Super Bowl advertising Diet Coke. Well, if it's advertising the Super Bowl, it must be fine. We've got to stop and think about what the heck are we thinking? And how long has this been going on that we've been duped?
We were talking before about diabetes, and some people are given metformin, and it was there was something in the media last week where metformin has been linked to cancer. So you just can't win for losing, can you?
Well, if you go back to more of a natural balance between your body and the earth, and you think that you are no different than any other animal on the planet, except, we do have an intelligence, but as far as give and take, we eat what the earth provides us. We breathe what the earth provides us. And we are supposed to be good custodians and give back in a good way to the earth. And when you stop and think about the arrogance that we've had and how we've somewhat just forgotten about the balance that we have between nature and our food and our water and just being outside in the sunshine, I think what's happened is the human animal has gotten very unnatural, so that we're developing all kinds of diseases that are not normally what we would develop.
Yeah.
But what you were talking, can you remember our grandparents and our great grandparents? If they were on a medication, remember an antibiotic, you were only on it for 10 days?
Yep.
And then you cut off.
That's right.
People are on now, if you start on a medication, it's an annuity for the pharmaceutical companies. You never are meant to get off. So that's what's happening, is that people are taking these medications that are overriding your body's intelligence and balance. And eventually, sure, that's going to cause cancers, schizophrenia, diabetes, heart attacks. Exactly.
Janet, the time has come when you and I must say so long for tonight, but please, what are your final thoughts and words of wisdom to the Exo Nation tonight?
I want people to realize that COVID has put us all in a box. To get out of that box, to realize that COVID is not the cause of every sneeze, every headache, every fever. To realize that COVID was man-made, COVID was a scam, learn from it, and then turn around and look down the road to see how many times they've done this before. And I can prove in Sweet Poison that they have done this before. It was all politically set up. So I want people to just realize, don't be afraid to change. Don't be afraid to say no. Think about the decisions that you make before you put a vaccine or you put something in your body. Just slow down. Put your smarts on. It's time for us to put our smarts back on. We've got to get control of ourselves again.
Janet, thank you so much for joining us. Always a great pleasure talking to you. And I look forward to the next time that we meet back here in the X Zone. And let's make it very soon, because you have so much to share with us. And thank you so much.
And after all these years, we finally get to see each other.
There you go.
Thanks,
Take care. Take care, Janet. X Zone Nation, our guest this hour has been Dr. Janet STARR Hull. Find out more about Dr. Hull and the great work she does. Go to her Facebook page at www.facebook.com/Janet STARR Hull. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break as we continue here in the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario. Whatever you do, don't go away.